Ladies and gentlemen, the following bout is scheduled for 2-minute rounds of amateur Muay Thai at 62 kilos. Introducing your first fighter, fighting out of the blue corner, representing Warriors Gym Dublin, presenting Max Hughes. Introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, representing Phraya Pichai, presenting Conaire Byrne.
Amateur Muay Thai action, 62 kilos. Max Hughes representing Warriors Gym Dublin out of the blue corner, taking on Phraya Pichai's Conaire Byrne out of the red corner.
Straight off, great kick by Conaire in that southpaw.
It's a clean sweep.
We see that Conaire with that atypical toe tap. We'll see this a little bit more when we get into the pros and the rounds get a little bit longer.
That's a beautiful kick to the body.
Now this would be an atypical orthodox southpaw, trading off kicks. One goes up, one goes down. Still a bit frantic.
That rear kick to the liver could be a useful weapon for the southpaw. And again, I think very much early in a fight is when a southpaw can really lead a little bit, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I do think.
Well, it takes your opponent, an orthodox opponent, a little while to settle into the rhythm of a southpaw.
Yeah, you got to watch that right cross and right kick, and this is where you might see a muay thai, someone that is kicking centered, like that great kick to the body and check. And these games sometimes can seem between a southpaw, an orthodox right-handed person, and a southpaw maybe too fundamental for some people because it becomes a game of fencing with the jab, who gets the first cross in, who gets the back leg kick, and it can stay, whoever controls them three fundamentals nearly dictate the match.
In combat sports, you will see a lot of the time a southpaw being more of a counter striker. So a lot of time it can lead to fighters necessarily just waiting, a case of who blinks first a lot of the time.
Yeah. Again, fairly evened up, even though we see Conaire taking the back foot. Thai boxing, again, like K1 can nearly does preference forward movement, sometimes even over volume of work, the aggression and going forward, whereas in Muay Thai, you can win on the back foot if you're effective. But Conaire needs to have a greater output.
I'll tell you what, they're covering a lot of space in the ring, a lot of movement circling around, and it's nice to see that slow progression as we've gone through the fights where the movement has become a little bit more nuanced. The advantage is that it comes a little bit more naturally to them because they've got more sparring partners, different looks who are orthodox.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it takes a little bit of a shift in mentality from the orthodox fighter.
Sometimes what we'll find is in the culture of sparring building up to these fights, if a southpaw pot shots all the time in sparring, they don't actually learn how to get into the flow of a fight. Because sometimes a southpaw and orthodox in a training club, they're looking for that one big shot, like it was a small gloves match. And sometimes that can go against the southpaw. I'm not saying that's the case here, but actually maybe quite the opposite. The two guys are quite content in...
Oh, that's a nice teep right.
Being very creative.
Face. Yeah. I think that's the first time we've seen a teep to the face tonight. I would like to see the southpaw disguise those kicks a little bit more, put them behind the hands. Because you know yourself, if you see that tail from your opponent and they're throwing those single shots, you have that extra half second to react.
You do kind of get the feeling the guys are kind of thrown, they're definitely thrown sub-maximal, they're thrown at about 80-90% power. But you've almost a feeling because there's so much action, they're in the flow. They seem to be in the flow of motion here. Not overly thinking, they're transitioning quite well to diverse footwork, to clinch.
It was still yet to see anything venomous, so to speak.
Yeah.
This is good work in the clinch.
High volume. I think the one thing where we may see Thai boxing in the future is getting that VAR in, and we can get maybe some AI to do shot counts, but this is definitely one of the highest volume, highest throwing matches we've seen so far.
A lot of energy being expelled in there you see trying to swim in, try and get on the inside and really control that clinch, and this is where the energy gets zapped more.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a nice rear hand from Hughes.
Oh, great counter.
Very, very entertaining fight. Again, both fighters, I think, had good moments in there. Very difficult to separate.
Yeah, you know, step back a little bit, score and move.
Yeah.
It could be check hooking, using angles, or maybe bringing in a new element of scoring. Maybe going to that lead leg again. Great back leg kick.
He's working the body beautifully here. Hughes landing some beautiful shots to the body. Jumping front kick.
Again, this is where it'll get tricky for judges if they stay in the corner and no one really tries to outwork the other.
In the eyes of a judge, does that 1-for-1 almost negate one another's work?
Yeah. If I was scoring a match, I generally see every interaction and I'd put a tick down beside either red or blue.
Okay.
If one corner, or blue or red, has come out successfully from a significant interaction, meaning that a good point was scored that has displaced the fighter's body or bruised or damaged the fighter's body. But again, this is quite difficult because they seem to engage quite a lot and come out quite evenly.
Yeah. So it's a lot of effort, a lot of energy expended, and you haven't really changed the confluence of the fight.
Yeah, and I think the guys looking back on this, going into their next camp, should be looking at how do we change up the match now? How do we make it more? Because they're putting all the energy, and I don't believe they can give us any more.
No, the energy and endeavour here can't be faulted by the fighters at all.
It's extreme. It's fantastic.
And very much a southpaw versus an orthodox, they are very much mirror images of one another when they get into those exchanges.
And I would say even a more entertaining than a traditional.
Oh!
Great head kick by Conaire.
Now that is enough in the context of a fight like that to leave a lasting impression in the eyes of the judges.
Absolutely, because even if it doesn't, the opponent thinks it does, and they do something different, which then causes a chain reaction for the fight.
Dominoes. It's all dominoes.
Again, great shot by Conaire.
As you said, something you were talking about earlier, trying to frame off on that shoulder.
Yeah. Frame and leaning over.
And this is where I say we were in the likes of a pro fight. You would frame off and snap the elbow down.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of action, we go to the judges' scorecards. Your judges have scored the bout in favor of your winner via majority decision, fighting